Hey everybody, how are you? I hope you're having a wonderful day. So today, what I want to do is I want to do two things. And I'm going to do them quickly because it's hot out here. We are at the beginning of another heat wave, which is fine for July. I totally don't mind a heat wave in July. I love the heat. I love the summer. Got to be kind of careful because I dehydrate easily, but I've got my water, so I should be fine. So what I want to do today is I want to do two things. I want to see if I can get two things done. I want to work on this area over here in the backyard. So this area right here, I haven't really done anything to it, planted it up or anything. No, stand this way so you can see it a little better. I haven't really done anything to it since we first started gardening. I I think when I first started gardening, I did. Oh my gosh, what did I put in here? I think I put in celosia, and it was a combination of really not knowing much about gardening and not knowing what plants needed. They didn't do well. This area is pretty much part to full shade. This gets some sun, I think some morning sun, but it's not really much. So anyway, so I think it was a combination of not really knowing what the garden needed and not really knowing much about plants because it was my first year. So the celosia really didn't do very well in the area. So, and ever since then, usually I'll get started. I'll be going really well from March all the way to, well, before March because I start with winter sowing and seed starting, all the way till about mid-July, and then I kind of tire out, wear out, burn out, especially when it starts to get hot. And so this area usually gets a little bit neglected and nothing ever happens. I don't even know what this thing is, but we're gonna get rid of it today. So what I want to do today is I want to start fixing this area up. I did a little research on some things I can put in here, and I actually got some coleus, and I have some impatiens. I've got some impatiens over here. I'll show them to you. They've spent entirely too much time in their nursery container. See the red ones right here? So I want to put them out, at least the ones that are flowering, and give them a chance to thrive. And then I've got some coleus. Let's take a walk to the front yard so you can see what I'm talking about. I got a container of coleus because I figured I always thought coleus was a sun-loving annual and that it needed to be in the sun, but it doesn't. It actually can tolerate part shade. So I got this one. Let's look at it down here. So I got this one, and this has three different plants in here. So I'm going to pull it out of this container, and I'm going to spread it out in the landscape, in the yard, in the ground, flower bed, and I'll do a little design with it. So it should be good. And I was doing some research, and in the future, I looked at different things that I can put in that garden space, in that space for the future. And I was looking at, well, they talked about lobelia, but lobelia for us is a annual, is an annual. But they also talked about bleeding heart, hydrangea. I don't think this area gets enough sun to keep a hydrangea happy. I'm not sure. They talked about lungwort, and there were a couple more that I saw. Not celosia, the other one. Oh, there was another nice pink fuzzy one that when I figure out the name, I'll write it on the bottom. That I can a stilbe. I can also try a stilbe there. So, I mean, this is a pretty decent space. Uh, we've got some room here. I'm gonna move this container probably today, and I'm just gonna work on this side for now. And this side under here, I think I'll work on this another time. Under here, it's a little trickier because there's actually bricks that are buried in there. That looks like mom and dad used to use it for a little brick barrier to make a flower bed, a round flower bed. So I'm gonna see if I can, not today, but maybe over the weekend, I'll see if I can pull those up and do something with them. But this is the start of putting this part of the yard together. This part of the yard has a lot of nice things. This is a part that's right up against the fence. So we've got this evergreen behind me. We've got some smaller roses over here, hostas. This over here, I think is a type of lily. I'm not sure. I think it's a lily. I think it flowered. And then on the other side, we've got roses. We like roses in this family, so we've got like 1.5 million of them. But we've got like 3 roses, and we've even got a rose all the way in the corner. At the end of the season, I'm gonna see if I can work my way back there and pull it out. But yeah, so I really want to work on fixing up this side of the garden and having this nice. And in the future, I'll use this space and put perennials in this space, so it's not as much work. Because one of the other things is after a certain time, this is right on the grass, so there's a lot of mosquitoes over here. So that's the other reason I want to work kind of fast, so we don't end up getting caught by the mosquitoes. Anyway, so I'm going to set up and then we will get started. I've said a lot, so now let's get down to work. And when we're done, the other thing I wanted to say, when we're finished with this, hopefully, I do want to get 2 things done today. When we're finished with this, I want to start a couple containers for the side garden. There's some things that I bought that I want to put. I bought 2 butterfly bush plants that I want to put in the side garden. They're smaller. The smaller ones, they're sterile, so I'm not really worried about them being invasive or being an ecological hazard right now or ever. I think they'll be okay. And I also got some Persian shield that I want to put in a container and put that in the front. So let's see if we can work on this so we can get to that. All right, let me set up and we'll be back. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm not going to, well, I might concentrate on this part. But what I'm going to do is there's a lot of weeds over here on this part. I'll bring it closer so you can see. So there's a lot of weeds over here, so I think I'm going to do a little weeding. I'm going to get rid of that netting, and I'm going to fix my Be Happy sign. It's a little old and worse for wear, but it brings character to the garden. So there's a rose here. I'm not going to disturb this rose. So whatever we do, we're going to work around the rose. And not for nothing, but I think I will try to pick up these rocks today and put them to the side if I can. They don't seem to be that deep, and with the hori hori knife, I should be able to dig in there and get to them. We'll see. But I'm definitely going to pull up these weeds and clean this up a little bit, and then I'll put some fresh soil and some compost in here and work with it that way. I'm not going to put fertilizer in the whole bed because then I'm going to just be feeding the weeds. What I'm going to do is I'll put the fertilizer in the holes as I'm planting, and then we'll go from there. And then when I'm done with everything, I'll put a nice layer of mulch over. All right, so let's do it. So here we go. I got my gloves. I found a new pair of gloves. I actually found this one sitting in the back of that flower bed while I was watering this morning. So I figured I would use it today. So let's see what we can do. So I spread a fresh layer. Let me move my gloves so you can see. I spread a fresh layer of soil and I mixed in some compost. So now I'm ready for what comes next. I'm not going to get under the roses yet because that's going to be a little bit tricky. It's going to take a lot more weeding. So I'm going to do that in another video, and I'll get another bag of soil to spread under there with some compost. And I didn't spread over here because I don't want to bury these bricks, because I'm gonna see if I can pull these bricks up eventually, maybe tomorrow or the next day if it's not too hot, and see if I can do some different kind of design. So I just did this area, kind of isolated for now, but I just did this area for now, and then I'll be able to spread to the surrounding areas. So let's see if we can get some plants. All right, so here are the plants that I chose for this project. So first we've got some impatiens, and yes, they're a bit leggy. They've been in these containers for way too long. So I'm hoping once they get into the ground, they'll do okay. I'll let them stay leggy for now, and then if Need be, I'll cut them back a little bit and see if they flush out new blooms. Never done that with impatiens, so I'm not sure. That's why I'm a little hesitant, so I want to see what they do once I put them in the ground first. So these are, see if I can read this, Beacon Impatiens. They're bright red. So best for shade and part shade. A bloom season is spring to late summer. Watering is medium, which is good. I don't want to water too much because this area doesn't get that much sun, so the roots aren't going to dry out as quickly. So I want to water adequately because I don't want the roots to get really dry. But I want to also keep in mind that this area is not going to have the beaming sun on it that's going to dry out the roots, so I don't want them to get root rot either. So I got to be a little bit mindful of that. They grow to 14 to 18 inches off the ground, and their spread is 12 to 14 inches. Spacing is 8 to 10 inches, but I never listen to spacing. If you've seen my other garden, my other flower beds, you know I don't listen to spacing. But this is what they should look like. And they grow stronger and shine longer. So that's those. And then these, I don't have a plant tag for these, but these are coleus. And as you can see, they were $7.98 in Home Depot. Their height is 10 to 16 inches off the ground, spacing 4 to 10 inches if you want to pay attention to that. Watering when dry, and habit is upright. So, and therefore shade. They enjoy shade. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to intersperse them in here. There's 3, I think. Oh, there is a tag in here. Is there a tag in here? No, I thought I saw a tag. Anyway, there's 1, 2, and 3 separate plants in here. So I'm going to take them out. 3 or 4. 1, 2, 3. There's 3 separate plants in here. So I'm going to take them out of this container, and I'm going to intersperse them in this general area, and we'll see. I think I have some white impatiens there too. So if I have anything that has flowers on it, I'll use it over here also. All right, so I'll get you propped up so you can see what we're doing.
I found a few white ones. They're a little bit leggy, but I think I'm gonna stick it in the back. Let's see what happens. There's birds fighting in the backyard now. I don't know what the problem is. You guys play nice, please. Okay, so it looks small now, but it looks much nicer. And given some time, it'll get bigger, especially the coleus. The coleus will expand as the summer heat hits it, um, and it'll get bigger. I'm gonna cut back these roses. Maybe I'll do it right now. There's not not much to cut back, and hopefully they'll flesh out one more time, or maybe two more times before the season's done. And I kept these rocks here because I'm not sure if I'm going to use them here. I'm going to work on this another day, probably sometime over the weekend if it doesn't rain. It's supposed to rain on Saturday, so we'll see. But I kept these rocks because I'm not sure how I'm going to use them. If I don't use them, I'll just put them in the front and we'll use them for something else. And as I pick up the rocks here, I'll spread some more soil and compost on this side, and this side will look uniform. Eventually, the goal is to spread soil and compost all over. I should have spread it before these roses and plants started started growing. But eventually the idea is to spread everything over this way and to spread some over this way and to mulch it. Oh, speaking of mulch, I didn't mulch. I'm going to throw a layer of mulch over this and then we'll go to the next project. Okay, so for part 2 of our video, I hope you can hear me over the humming of the air conditioner. But so for part 2 of our video, oh, they turned the air conditioner off just as we were getting on the video. Look at God. Thank you, Lord. Okay, so here's part 2. We have, I'll put you down a little bit. I have an empty container, and I have a bunch of things that I want to put in this container. Okay, so first I have the main idea. I want to put this container, plant this up, and put it in the front garden, because on the front garden we have like a plank of wood that's right in front of the basement window, and it's got different flowers and plants on it. It's not complete, and I saw an empty pot there, and I thought it would be nice. I was inside. I went downstairs to do laundry or something, and I just happened to look out the window, and I could see the plants from inside, and I could see some of the color that was coming up. The hydrangea were coming up, were blooming, and things were starting to come up and look nice. So I thought, wouldn't it be nice if we had some color in there, right in the middle? So I thought about this Persian shield.
well, I wasn't sure what I was looking for, so I went on online and started looking around, and I saw some Persian shield. So I got three of these, three Persian shield, one, two, and three, and these are really nice. These are annuals, and these can grow really tall once you plant them. I had them planted over here in the raised bed garden last year for the first time. It's the first time I ever saw them. I thought they were coleus, but they're different. They're not coleus. But they're annuals, and once they're planted and they get kind of established, they grow really tall and they grow out a little bit, and they're really, really pretty. So I figured, let's use these. I still have some petunia, some blue petunia. I don't think I think I have a couple white ones, so maybe I'll use some blue and some white, just so it's not so dark. So I'll see if I can get some white ones behind me. And I found a geranium that has lost its way. I have no idea how she got here. I think she was in this container in the backyard last weekend. I think either Friday night or Saturday night. I think both nights we had thunderstorms and they got really bad. So I think she was on the table and she got blown off. So the only thing left in this pot is this. So she looks a little bit stressed. So I'm going to cut down some of the old leaves and put her in the container. I think I'll put her in the middle and put everything else around her. And then I'll water it in, and this will be our pot for the front. All right, so what I'm going to do first, I'm going to get my gloves. What I do with my gloves over here, 1 second. Okay, I've got my gloves and my tools. All right, so I don't usually use gloves when I am working in a container because I don't really find it necessary. But when I opened this bag of soil the other day, it was kind of smelly, so I'm going to use some gloves. So I'm going to put you down a little bit so you can see, you can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm going to start small. The soil is kind of heavy. It still smells bad. I think I'm going to get the new bag from the car because this one still smells bad. Hold on. Okay, I got the bag from the car and it wasn't even that heavy. So hopefully I won't have back issues tonight. Let's get it open. Since this one is a fresh one. Yeah, this one's a fresh one, so I'm not going to bother to use gloves. I can go back to using my hands. So let's get some soil in the bag, in the container. And before I put any more, I'm going to mix in my compost. Mix in some compost. So I'll mix that in properly. And then some fertilizer. I usually use rose tone, but I ran out, so for now I'm using the garden tone. Any of the tones would be good. I ideally would use biotone because biotone is a starter fertilizer, but any of the tones will work. Mix some in. Don't really need too much. We're already mid-season, and I'm going to start my weekly fertilizing of all the annuals in a few days. So I don't need that much starter fertilizer in here. So I'm going to mix this up. This is kind of smelly, so I'm going to use my hory knife to mix it. I'm trying to stand back so you can see my face and not just, my neck down. Alright, good. And then I'll top it up with a little more soil. I don't want to use too much soil because I don't want to get too messy, and that's why I put things in. Alright, so I'm going to start putting things in, and then as we get everything in, we'll fill it up with some more soil. Alright? Okay, so I would really like to put her in the middle, have her be the centerpiece. So I'm going to stick this little geranium. Before I do that, let me cut off whatever's dry and sick looking. I believe with a little tender loving care, this geranium will bounce back and it'll do well. It's the middle of the season. I won't say it's late in the season because it's July, and we could easily have annuals still up in October or November. I think it was November last year when we finally dug up our annuals and cleaned out our beds. So I wouldn't say it's late in the season. It's the middle of the season. There we go. This looks much better. There. This looks much better, so I'm going to plant her like this. There's still a little bit of yellow on here, but I'm going to leave it. But I don't want to take off too much. I'm going to plant her like this, so that she's in the middle. There we go. So she's in the middle. And then I'm going to go in with my Persian shield around. Now, I was thinking this was bigger, so I thought maybe I'd put the Persian shield and then the petunias. But I think I'm going to have to put, let's see, I'm going to have to put the Persian shield like this, or like this, and then put the petunias in between in the empty spaces. I think that's how it's going to have to work, because the pot is not as big as I thought it was. So let's take these out. Oops. And some of the root came off, but that's okay. There's still a lot of root here. So this one's going to go on the back. For annuals, I learned you don't really have to break up the root ball. You can if you want to, but it's not absolutely essential because they're only going to be in the ground or in a container for the season. They're not going to live there indefinitely. Whereas for perennials, you can break up the root ball a little bit. I'm going to put this a little bit to the side so it can be seen a little bit more. You can break up the root ball a little bit for perennials, because they're going to be in those containers more long term. Alright. We have another one. It looks pretty good. Thankfully it's getting a little bit cooler out and we're getting a nice breeze. Even when I was doing the flower bed along the fence, it started to feel really pretty out. So that's always a good thing. And then I think we'll put the other Persian shield right here. I'll put a little hole for her. Oops. I'm surprised I'm not making as much of a mess as I usually do. I can't call myself the messy gardener today. I swear the phone keeps falling over. It's like the phone wants to go inside. The phone has had enough. We're almost done. Okay, so before we put the petunias in, I'm going to top it off. I'm going to put some more soil. I'm just adding some more soil to get it up, because once we start watering, the soil level is going to go down because the soil is going to settle. So let's add a little bit more soil. Top it off a little bit. Okay, and then we can come in with the petunias. Now, I want to use some of the blue. I'm going to take some of the blue out. And we'll see if we can do a mix of the blue and the white. And the white. Now, I'm not sure what kind of steroid fertilizer these were on, but these white outperformed any of the other petunias that we've bought this year, last year, or even the year before. And the ones that I have in containers already are huge. Okay, and I'll get, let's say this white over here. I don't want one that looks so big because I don't want it to look so gargantuan compared to the other ones. So I'll put one here. And this container, I'm not going to pack out that much, that heavily. I'll just see if I can fit things nicely into place. I don't know if you can hear, but one of my neighbors is watching Wheel of Fortune. And I'm fighting the urge to try not to solve the puzzle for them. Thank goodness I can't actually see it. I'm going to stick this one right here. And we'll stick this one without the plant tag. We'll stick this one right in here. So I think we can take one here in the back. We've got a nice space back here. I think I'll put one next to the Persian shield right over here. I think I'll put a blue one. This blue one in the middle right here. I think we'll add that one. Okay. And a little bit more. So, there. And this is our container. Okay, so without cleaning up, the table's kind of a mess, but this is our container. So we've got the geranium in here in the middle, and we've got the Persian shield surrounding it, 1, 2, and 3, and then interspersed in between, we've got the petunias over here. So I'm going to water this in and then put it into place. So this is a cute little annual container that we have here that we can use, and it's really pretty. So what I'm going to do with these, I'm going to actually start feeding these because each of these plants, well, I'm not sure about the Persian shield, and the geraniums are pretty moderate feeder, but I know the petunias are heavy feeders. But they both have pretty much similar watering habits, watering needs, so that was a good thing about putting them together. So what I'm going to start doing, I think this weekend we're going to start fertilizing our annuals, and I'm going to do a video on that. It was something I had already planned to do way back when. I usually start already, but I'm a little bit behind schedule. But this, we're still going to start it, and we'll just keep going throughout the season until about September-ish, October-ish, and then we usually start letting go. So what we usually do is I have a water-soluble fertilizer that I give. I give it either once a week or once every other week. If I miss a week, I don't really panic about it, as long as I know that they're getting it regularly. So I'll do a video on that, and I'm not only going to do this container, but that's going to be for all the annuals in the garden. So I'll do a video on that, so you'll see how I put everything together, how I mix everything, and how I fertilize. All right. So that's going to be it for today's video. I'm going to water this in, so pretty, and I'm going to put her in place in the front of the garden, and I'll let you see what it looks like when I do. All right. So thanks everybody for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful night, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye everybody.